Differences between consecutive and simultaneous translation. Consecutive and simultaneous interpretation are both types of oral translation, where the interpreter listens from one party and repeats the speech to the other party in another language. So, what's the difference between them? The main difference between them is that in consecutive translation, the speaker gives the interpreter time he pauses during his speech. So he speaks for about 2 to 5 minutes, pauses, then the interpreter starts to translate to the other party. We need to mention that the interpreter takes notes during listening. While in simultaneous translation, the interpreter listens and speaks at the same time the speaker speaks, without any pauses. Simultaneous translation requires special equipment like headphones, booths, maybe, but in consecutive, it doesn't require anything. Simultaneous translation requires the interpreter to be or to have a good concentration. Second question, types of interpretation. I mentioned before two types of interpretation, which are consecutive, where the interpreter listens, takes notes, and then translates, and simultaneous translation, where the interpreter listens and translates at the same time without any pauses. Third type of interpretation is whispered interpretation, where the interpreter whisper the translation to the party while the first party speaks. Like it's so similar to simultaneous translation, but is whispering. Fourth type is text, it's written text interpretation or sight interpretation, which I'll use today to translate the text. I'll just read the text and translate it orally. That's it. The fifth type of translation is sign language interpretation, which is translating of our language to the sign language for deaf people. Sixth and last type of interpretation is remote interpretation. This type occurs during online meetings where the parties or the speakers are away from each other. They may be in different countries and the interpreter joins the meeting and translates from one party to the other one. Third question is, how can I, as an interpreter, to identify my weaknesses? In order to identify anything, you need to notice it, you need to see it. So, if I'm an interpreter and I want to improve myself during my interpretation, I would record myself every time I interpret something orally. So, when I watch it later, I can see what can I improve, what can I avoid during my interpretation. Okay, the second part is sight translation. I have the text written here in Arabic only, and I'll translate it orally. يشهد قطاع غزة في إبريل 2026 استمراراً للأزمة الإنسانية الكارثية مع تواصل الهجمات الإسرائيلية وتوغلات وقصف في مناطق مختلفة. Gaza Strip is witnessing a catastrophic humanitarian crisis in April 2026 due to Israeli attacks, military incursions, shelling in different areas. مما أدى إلى مقتل 4 أشخاص في خان يونس وشمال القطاع مؤخراً, which led to the death of 4 people in Khan Yunis and northern Gaza recently. نزح 90% من السكان وسط تحذيرات من مخاطر عالية نتيجة انتهاكات وقف إطلاق النار. Around 90% of the population have been displaced from their homes amid warnings about serious risks um, due to ongoing ceasefire violations. تدمير واسع للبنية التحتية، نقص حاد في الغذاء والدواء، وقيود على المساعدات. A widespread destruction of infrastructure, a severe shortage of food and medicine, and restrictions on humanitarian aid. الأوضاع الميدانية field situation، تواصل القصف الإسرائيلي وعمليات النسف والتوغل لا سيما في جنوب وشمال قطاع غزة. Israeli bombing and military incursions and demolition operations continued, especially in northern and southern Gaza. الوضع الإنساني كارثي، حيث يواجه 1.5 مليون شخص الحاجة الماسة للمأوى. Humanitarian situation catastrophic, with 1.5 million people facing an urgent need for shelter. تنتشر الأمراض بشكل واسع نتيجة نقص المياه النظيفة والوقود. Diseases are widely spreading due to shortage of clean water and fuel. القطاع الصحي يعاني من أزمة خانقة نتيجة الحصار والقيود الصحية، القيود الإسرائيلية على المعابر، مما يعيق وصول المساعدات الطبية الضرورية. Health sector is suffering from a severe crisis as a result of the blockade and Israeli restrictions on borders, which hindering the delivery of essential medical care. خروقات وقف إطلاق النار ceasefire violations. الوضع محفوف بالمخاطر مع استمرار الانتهاكات مما يهدد أي فرصة للاستقرار. The situation is highly fragile due to the ongoing violations which threatening any opportunity for stability. الدمار والبنية التحتية destruction and infrastructure. تشير التقديرات إلى تدمير أو تضرر نسبة كبيرة من المباني مما يفاقم من معاناة النازحين. Estimates indicate that a large proportion of buildings have been destroyed or damaged, which worsening the suffering of displaced people. Thank you.